children, news magazines and tabloids, public secrets, government misinformation, and retold memories, I've been thinking about arson, replacing faith with fire. I no longer believe in anything. What is this world we love in? The false speaking of fallen idols to friendship, drugged and diseased. We loot the centuries for material and knit ourselves a fabric of wisdom to keep warm. Perhaps we are too late. Maybe humans never stood a chance against ourselves. Who does a man turn to when he's lost himself? I'm not sure if this is fact or fiction. Living among dreams. My mother raised me within myths she couldn't fathom for herself. I used to fear death. Perhaps I'm free. I have a few words, a few thoughts, paragraphs I could have taken for some woman's body. Consequence, a truth in lies. Not all wars are won. The miniskirt and thong, your man-child thug next door, vagrant, itinerant cannabis farmer, muscle-bound thief, closet artist. Where have you been heading your entire life and didn't know it? Idealism has long been known as a false notion, but what of ethics and empathy? How long will we live in this world and not leave an imprint? Can we bear our own impact? This life, I've found, can be excruciating to precisely identify, except in retrospect. Hindsight lies as well. Difficult to look backward and move ahead. At a certain point, very little will surprise. I've found champagne and orange juice clear much from off the tongue. I love my wife, who I sometimes fear lives in sexual servitude. Perhaps this is not uncommon. A common question might be, is this fiction, a prose, a novel, a short? In short, what is it? Though I've never considered myself a fetishist, my desire may seem unusual from your position. Certainly my choices have been, even from my own. I currently reside in a rather secluded area of Central California, not so much as it once was, though infinitesimally I look after my wife. I do not think I mean ever diminishingly, only imperceptibly abandoning an unforgotten past. Brutal as the murder I did not commit. I sit on a ranch somewhere putting words down out of order, and what of it? Over the last year, my life broke down like a block of sugar in the rain. I recall telling my wife I wanted to rip the skin from our world and strip it down to skeleton. This is what occurred. The year I broke my leg, year of the bed bugs, year we lost our house and our company was taken from us, year I lost my friends when our house was robbed by the people we took in, the year I tried to make a movie. What a fucking year it was. I dreamt about a train. It smelled like piss on other types of piss, kerosene and yoga, my mind numb like white powder against my lips and gums. Two girls discuss rabies, anal sex, and shooting up. A man says, "Miss, I'm gonna have to ask you to move and it's gonna hurt." I get on and off the same train, and it somehow brings me backwards, constantly straining against my destiny. I write line after gorgeous line and wake to find I dreamed all that as well. The skies are gorgeous, pinks trailed with blue. Clouds tossed in a mixer. A girl names 48 people she'd bring with her to a new town, leaving one more for her list. We grew to believe that dingy was romantic and anything awful could become bohemian after a certain spin. Fragments of forever, strung together with luck and determination. I have these memories I like to leave behind. Objects I've carried for years and abandoned to violence. Pieces of falsehood that might string together into truth. Writing out thoughts and concepts on a busted laptop. Copying them over and again. Typing, transferred to a hard drive, another laptop, and the internet. Printing them out, rewriting and copying it all down again. Living on the edges of my own consciousness. A cat purrs itself around my legs. I dream of waking. Finding space, another town, a different city. Smoke curls itself from nowhere into the scene to add a little color. Maybe there's a band. The facts can be far too real, and why do we leave if not to escape? Details lost with every waking moment, a feeling that has helped me find some sort of truth, another dream. The Negro stands for something lost, taunting the drag it never satisfied. How many thousand picketers are marching? Anarchists organized. We left the city of murderers and thieves, wandered through a desert of human desolation. It is I, prodigal oracle, fallen spirit, the lovers and dreamers who was. Civilization was a massacre, a temple to the betrayal of ourself. What could we have been if we had sought beyond? People of the street no longer mine. Late night becomes early morning. I've spent my life with books and among the literate. I figure one day they'll pay me for something regular. Sobriety is a cold pool, an empty cabinet. We perceive what we can. I wonder where the days have gone. Shirt and underwear I've been wearing for days. The pants just came from a thrift shop. I almost feel like myself again, whoever that was. Fashion shift quicker than perception and never lasts till they return. The world may never truly change. Often we decay before we die. Language rots and rusts. Trust fades. Creatures of habit, worn in the ruts of inaction. Old tradition, unexamined thought. The nature of society. Our physical world, atoms and molecules bound by choice and electricity, the human mind capable of vertiginous extremes, your body, potential almost exclusively unexplored, a brain, this remarkable feat of cells and neuroses, unending possibility. Reality is limited by our decision to make it so. My wife recently purchased the skinniest pair of jeans I've ever worn. Hip huggers are hip again. The muse, asleep upon abandoned railroad tracks. What does it mean to be alone? Waking from sleep, plagued by forgotten images, I write a story of a lonely girl. How am I doing? I don't know what's up with the time and shit. We're cool? K. Sarah. The bar was dimly lit. Heavy little lamps decorated the walls. Everything cost too much. She was gorgeous. Maybe not your type. I'd seen her at the bar before, and one of us knew the other must be trouble. My head was hurting that first night, tired of working. As I've been tired of not working, it seems life becomes a pendulum before long, one unbearable outcome to another. Sarah hit me like a tab of acid. She was coy, the way a feline preaches on the nature of seduction and dragged me out of fantasy into her thrall. They say one thing leads to another, and I guess it does. But where to go from here? Cliche, accepted tropes. The man walks into a bar, a priest, a rabbi, an Anglican minister, an imam. Stories receding in the shadows. Some boy meets a girl who, with a mystical property, multiplies through lust. Angels born without genitals, overseen from above. Love's magical guardianship. Two cats prowl outside around the ranch, spreading venom from a local plant. Neighbors or strangers, known, unknown, myriad tales. Last summer, I walked along a pier and asked uniformed police how they felt about their own hypocrisy. Not long after, I debated as to whether I could kill a man. I spent my life exploring dead art forms. We live and then live on in memory until forgotten. We breathe, we break down and return to earth. Certain facts prove inescapable. All else becomes conjecture. Hunger is all. What do you desire? When night falls and clouds hang low, wandering with your thoughts, where do we leave off? I spent my life waiting on a call that didn't come. Lost under my own influence, awake among the stars, slumping toward catastrophe. I don't want to raise my kids to believe that even if you try your hardest, you still have to settle, and no one can be trusted. Friends will betray you, and the kids with the advantages are going to win already. That's how I was raised. I was born into an America where anything was possible, and grew up in a house of killed dreams. Unsatisfying compromise, or getting what you want, had never been an option to remember. My parents traded their desires for children. I never wanted to be like that, so I didn't learn to compromise. I believed in nothing else except myself. How can that be enough? Oh yeah. Keep whining, sell your song, your sad story, go on. Someone's out there listening, waiting to hear you. I've read things about myself I once believed, heard proclamations of a satisfied audience, lived as the traveling passionate. I've invented self-fulfilling machines, encouraged artists toward their best work, and watched them prosper. Profit is the margins on a 6-inch miniskirt. Comfort stifles like a blanket in the heat. Love murders itself unsatisfied. I've never read this whole thing, to be honest. I magnify myself within a lens of nuance and deception, a song cycle of manipulated energy. I would rather die than quit and lose myself. Prodigy, child, genius. You are what you invented or stole that made you a fortune and nothing else. A collection of borrowed genes, thrown forward toward the abyss of tomorrow. Gravity is the only thing they teach anymore. Jump up to get pulled down. Life is not society. There's nothing natural about disappointment. Survival has a finite memory. All creation ends up in an elephant's graveyard. We, children of irony, salute nothing. Gladiators of the written word, ever preparing for death. Video is our modern marvel. We live on in digital. Days spent in the dismantling of the human spirit. Palates dulled by alcohol and insomnia, drugs and boredom. I wandered Arizona on summer nights, exulting to Harvey Danger in the desert. I imagined large enough for schools of artists, thousands of monikers drowning in miniature masses in a bathing light of hope. I prophesized a way out of the wilderness. My darling wants a baby. This portable device shuts off and continues searching for something, wearing down, as do I. A deceased Italian actor saunters along his driveway from the safety of a flat-screen television. I find my name online, unplanted on the websites of famous corporations, captioned without information. Our president, soldier of vision, prepares for martial law. We are bit parts, extras in the wallet of a billionaire, paradox of wealthy humanitarians, black Americans, of profitable art, contradictions inherent in civilization. We are what we owe. This momentary invitation to renew everything, enough of yesterday, the not-so-secret agents of an ancient belief with great regard for wonder. Bohemia become Prague, beauty in an empty theater. We traveled along interstates throughout the nation on the business of performance, collecting words in paragraphs and stanzas, exploring the imaginary, remaking the landscape of an architectural wilderness. But you've heard that shit before, haven't you? You've been around the block. Walked on the moon. You were created equal. You hold these truths, the forgotten facts, ungrateful heart, a melting pot, loss of self. I traded in one system of beliefs for another, and finally, for nothing at all. And that's the present. So I would like to read a love thing and ask that. This was a Christmas present because I haven't given my wife enough presents. The ones I did give her were mostly intangible. This book is called Dying the First Time, and this piece is called Flame Chemistry, and then I swear I'll stop. A sensation of greatness, of levitating freedom, accidental exuberance, joy. Imagine something better than yourself. Grandeur. The faint impression. What does it amount to? Matter or dark matter, red dwarfs and black holes, mud, to absolve the self and dissolve into base elements. How did you find your glow? A minor collection of entertainers, innate audience, small arts movement, occasionally silent symphony, dream cinema, the unpredictable anatomy of loss and forgiveness, flame chemistry. An integral evolution of comfort. Isolate and identify a crucial moment. Perfection, studied and analyzed. A subjective, lived experiment of time dilation, limited space travel, metamorphosis. Two people huddle for warmth, a delicate act of timing. We become liquid and blend in a new mixture. We curse, mock, and transcend. We build to some other level of consciousness. When does the chance meeting become inevitable? Strangers leave their houses at uncalculated intervals to coincide. I would enter the abyss, would sacrifice myself to meet you in the unknown. We reckon with eternity, tangled in a blanket amongst chemicals. The spirit, divided against itself, cannot stand. Worse things have happened. Free and alive, alive and free. It comes to this. What I would trade, what I wouldn't trade, whatever's left. The world has been calling, and we heard, regardless of anything else, we heard and responded, falling into abandon as a comet comes home, bringing out of ourselves what it is we found. Spider webs encircle us, trapping dust motes and intruders. We remain preserved, affected and untouched. This world, demon flower, cruel benefactor, angel of disease, carry us through holy dementia, carve us out of place. Times like these, the only times. Better or worse, no place but the present. Days and minutes off into a cavern for descent. We are here and now. How did it come to be? First touch, eyes meet across a void, gentle connecting from initial solitude, recognition. First notes of a well-loved song, unfamiliar take on a refrain, the welling up of some sacred place, this perfect perversion, repeated often and again, always and never the same. We walk the streets of some filthy city requesting stories known and unknown. We meet ourselves again and again. We live among stars and minerals on a lowly planet in the Milky Way, breathing hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. I feel you in the water passing through me, in the blood. This reaction, physical, non-physical, nutrients and life. I see myself in you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.